Morning everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video. I have just arrived and it looks like we're working on a Polo today, mate.
We are.
Chris has pulled, you've pulled that there on your own, haven't you? Right, let's waffle more work today. We got a lot to do. Let's get involved and do as much as we can on this little car. So you would have seen on that little bit of time lapse there, we just thought we'd do it off camera, run round and set everything up, get the dozer underneath the frame machine and just get everything where we want it. We are going to obviously time lapse, Chris giving that a pull, and I'm going to try to do quite a lot of it live. But before we get cracking, he's just going round now with a crack bar, just double checking all of those seal clamps, make sure it's as tight as we can possibly get it. Because the last thing in the world you want to do is pull the car off the jig. So we're going to carry on and start the process of pulling out this quarter panel. So you'll see we are time lapsing as much as we can, guys, but it's so dangerous me being here, and I've really got to stand out the way. We're not going to put ourselves in danger, and also just trying to see bits and pieces of it. So I'm standing away from the chain. If that lets go, it's going to go that way. So I thought I'd stand here so that we could see a bit of it coming out in there. See that coming out there now? So, yeah, just that little pull there has pulled that back round, and you can see this is starting to look square on the back there now. I'm probably going to cut there because Chris may possibly want to move his clamp, but again we've got it on time lapse over the back here and I can't get too near that, and Chris needs to be there, so it's awkward for me to get round him and try and film it. So of course I'll capture as much as I can, but it's not going to be as straightforward as me standing here physically recording him pulling out that quarter panel. We've just had to move the dozer around now sideways and put it through so that we can give this side a little pull. And I just wanted to show how the dozer does actually fit to the frame machine. So you can see there's a plate there, there's a plate underneath. They've both got grips on them, little teeth. That one goes over the top and fits on here, and then we whack the pin through and that holds it tight. And around this side you can see it's loose. It's a wedge. So it's a wedge, yeah. Chris is going to smack that wedge in and that's going to pull those two plates really, really tight together. And now that is locked in there and it can't move anywhere. So now we've got all that stripped out, there's quite a bit more pulling to do, but actually behind the damaged panel. So we're going to tape up some joints. I'm going to go around and buzz out quite a lot of these spot welds with a spot weld bit. We'll get a piece of that quarter removed so that Chris can get in behind there and pull it out and get it all lined up, ready for the new quarter panel. You would have seen me going around there, undoing all of the spot welds, drilling them out. A lot of people do ask about drilling out the spot welds. I'm going to put my hand behind that. That's actually a proper spot weld drill bit for removing the spot welds. And the idea is to drill through the first layer and don't go through the second layer, so that when you're putting it back on, you haven't got to fill it up. It's already there. So I didn't film that little piece, the time lapse. It's already moved on quite a lot today, so I did want to stop it somewhere. We are changing the whole quarter, but we have stopped and cut this piece out here so that we can try and it's getting quite late in the day now. As you can see now, clearly, now it's removed, this panel, this piece here, has got to go round that way and be straightened up so that this is all square. We've also got a little dink in here that we're going to need to pull out. And this light panel, if you look at the damage just here, it's actually pushed in that way. So we're now going to get hold of it and pull it back this way. And then we'll be moving on to here, pulling this back and straightening all this up. But quite a lot of work done today. I know it doesn't seem like a lot because a lot of it's on time lapse, but you can see that them spot welds are everywhere. And it was, they was all under here, all the way down and all the way up round here, and obviously behind the window as well. So we're going to move on now and start doing another little bit of pulling. That stayed there nicely. It really is those hard little awkward parts that you just can't show on camera. I don't want to time lapse it because you'd never see it anyway, but we're going to have to make that cut in there in a moment and make that cut through there to remove the rest of this quarter. But drilling out these spot welds, I mean, they're all released now. All of these are released. But when you get down under here, you can see this seal clamp. I've had to now remove it. Let's put a torch under there. And as you can see, up under there, I've had to grind off all of that seam sealer quite far down, and there's spot welds hiding underneath all of it. Luckily for us, this panel does join about here along this edge. So this is actually lapped over the top of that seal. But still, there's so many spot welds underneath there, and they've all got to be drilled out, and it's quite awkward laying down on the floor, doing the pilot holes. The spot weld drill bit's going a little bit blunt now, but we are pretty much there with it. But that's very time consuming. I've probably been there for about 2 hours now, going around scraping off all of that seam sealer. Although we have got the wire wheel that gets it off, you still need to chop the bits that can't get to. Very, very time consuming and a lot of work. Again, quite time consuming, very, very difficult to get off that. They are stuck on there very well. After I've done the spot welds underneath and all of those ones up the top there, I've started the process of trying to get it off. But obviously it is tucked behind this wheel arch. So I've just run the grinding disc right down the edge there, just to split the back and the front apart. And that is actually the back piece there that was folded around the back. So running the grinder down it and actually separating them, stop that from getting any damage, because when we put the new one on, it's going to all have to fold around behind that. So we're going to start the process now of giving this a clean up, and we need to cut the other quarter panel where we're going to join it there and there. Obviously we're not putting in the whole quarter panel, otherwise you've got to remove the roof skin to stick all this in, and it's going to end up with a joint up here, and it's got exactly the same joint here. So it's going to be no difference but a join through there and a join through there. We are going to go up a little bit higher on this one, that's why that's just rough cut. But this one here, you don't actually get a lot on the new panel. So you can see how much you would have got there of the main pillar post there that rolls round off the quarter and goes all the way along down to the A post. And again, there on the seal, you do only get a certain amount. What I have noticed, I will get a light actually and show it, is the new panel already comes, you can already see where the spot welds go, and they actually all tally up with that original one that we've just cut off. And those spot welds there line up perfect with these spot welds here. So you can see we're going to be cutting this one a little bit further along, but you don't get a lot on the bottom half of the seal. So let's crack on and do that. So we cut that top piece off. This piece here, we have cut it with some extra on it. Like I said earlier, it's overlapped, and we will make that final cut once we're 100% happy with the quarter. We'll take it off, we'll mark it, take it off, and then we'll do them cuts. And we're going to be doing the same there. But we have just popped it on there. The door gap is perfect, but there wasn't nothing wrong with the door gap to start with that red panel. The damage was there. So it is a case of on, off, and a lot of testing and messing around. We really did want to show more pulling on the jig in this video, but unfortunately you can see how difficult it is. It is a lot easier when we got a car with a front end pulled right round one way, because we can work from one side, I can stand at the front and you can see some more. So we will get to see a lot more of the dozer and the frame machine in the future. But yeah, we've put it together. We've checked the gap down the edge of the boot. That's perfect. That's all where it was. The door gap's fine. The light is all fine. But the reason you do keep putting it on and testing it, as you can see here, that inner wing is still in too far. Just that piece there. And that is just a piece of tin. You can see I'm moving it. So we'll be taking this quarter off, excuse me, getting the clamp on there and giving that a little tiny bit more of a pull and doing some dressing up and getting it bang on. But as you can see, everything is lining up on its original marks and it really does. It does look well, and we're quite happy with how this is turning out, Chris, aren't we? It is a lot of work, but all in all, terrific. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. We did want to get this quarter panel trimmed, fitted and welded in this video, but the spot welder, we haven't used it for a long time. So many people always say, like when we done the Fiat 500, why don't you do the spot welder? And basically it grabs it here and pinches it and spot welds it, and that is what we want to do. It's like original factory, and we wasn't able to do it because the fittings on the end of the spot welder are, quite frankly, they're worn out. So we have ordered some new ones and we're just waiting for those to come in. So quite a lot of work done there in that video, and of course something different that we've not done on the channel before, which is use the jig. I appreciate you couldn't see lots and lots done. In that, like I said earlier, on another car, if you've got the chassis legs and they're over like that, it's brilliant to actually film and watch pulling them back straight where they should be. Sorry for the little demo there with the hands, but with an impact like that, it is quite hard for me. I don't want to stand behind the dozer when it's pulling. Chris don't either. He needs to be round at the side of the car with the buttons and the hammers, but I'm not going to get into that too much. We will be featuring that jig on a harder hit car as soon as we can get our hands on one. You would have seen throughout that video I was cutting in and out showing that we was bidding on cars at Copart. If you follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds, you would have seen me yesterday put out a little sneak peek saying that we had 2 cars on approval. One of them, a Ford Focus, was very hard hit, but unfortunately they've both gone back into the auction and they're not letting us have those cars. So of course we'll try again on Friday. I noticed in the last video about the jig itself, people were saying, what's the idea of strapping the car down on the jig via the seal clamps? Now the reason for that is purely to hold the car. That is not to do any measurements. That is holding that car in place so that we can pull it. The dozer I showed earlier in the video fits to the jig, and you can pull that car 360 degrees. You can pretty much pull it anywhere once it's on the jig. You've seen us before use those seal clamps and that bar that you put through. When we repaired a little car for somebody and we pulled the back of it, we can't do, that's no good for a car that's been hit in the side and the back like that. It has to be done on the jig. So I do hope that that has answered your questions. I am going to leave it there because it is already quite a long video for us. I know quite a lot of you always do reach out to me and say, no Rob, we prefer longer ones. It is a long one for us. We've had a couple of days on it now, and it is the end of day 2 doing what we've been doing on it. The next video we should get a lot of this wrapped up, so that is something to look forward to. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Don't forget, please like, subscribe and share, and if you do enjoy the video, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it shows your appreciation. We're going to see you very, very soon in the next one.